Hi there, it's Andrew Burke from Code School Halifax again, and in our last episode we actually got our web page up onto the web with an address where people can actually reach it from around the world. But wouldn't it be great if we could actually see who's visiting it and how many people and when and where they may be from and what they're doing on the site? Well, there are ways to do that, and one of the most popular is called Google Analytics. It's run by Google, and we're going to explore that a little bit today. So hang on, here we go. Here is our web page, and here you can see that it actually is on the web, codeschoolhalifax.com/recoveries, and there's all of our data and everything, and it's all looking good, and then of course the number keeps going up, which is always heartening. Anyhow, what we want to do now that we have it on the web is it'd be great if we could see who's visiting it, how many, when they're visiting, what they're doing, and things like that. And one of the more popular ways to handle that is through something called Google Analytics. Now, Google, of course, it searches the web all the time, and they have connections to everything, and they're constantly building their own data on how websites are used and everything. But they provide all these tools to help you figure that out and use some of their information as well. This is generally so they can sell you advertising, of course, but at least they're letting us do it, and it's free. And of course, they would love it if you bought some Google Ads as well using their technology, but you don't have to. And here you can see I've got my analytics page up. I've got a whole bunch of different things. Now, this is from my Code School Halifax. It's not being looked at a lot. I'm not doing a lot of promotion. Obviously, I can't really teach real classes right now. But anyway, the big thing is you go to analytics.google.com. And then you sign up. And if you already have a Google account, like with YouTube or something like that, you may already have that set up, in which case you can just set up your first website. And the main thing you want to do, and we'll show you what all this stuff means later, but if we go down to the admin section, and of course, the first time you sign in, it'll walk you through some steps. The problem with Google is they keep changing the interface to all of this. And so, the way I used to do this and the first time I set it up, it doesn't work anymore anyway, but hopefully it'll look something like this when you're in there. But eventually you find the particular property that you're looking at. In this case, it's Code School Halifax. And there's a thing called tracking info. And there's tons and tons of things you can do with this. And that's a whole separate set of videos. There's people who devote their entire careers to doing all of this. But what you can do is basically, it has this little bit of JavaScript up here. It's a global site tag, and you just take this and you copy it, and then you go to your web page, and it says, put it up on your page. So you just take it and you put it in the head section where all that hidden mysterious stuff is, and it's just a bunch of extra script tags, okay? And one points to this particular library at Google, and the rest is some script stuff that just handles things. Okay, and you just save that. And now we need to repost this index.html, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go here to my plus interface where I've got my pages we talked about before. Here's recoveries. Here's all the stuff. I'm just going to make sure I've saved this. And actually, one other good thing that's a good thing to keep in mind, anytime you deploy, it's worth, put that indented properly, it's worth putting it into version control. So if you should be committing to Git all of the time, but especially if you're about to deploy something, because you really want to make sure you have a snapshot on that. Okay, added analytics, close that there. And now we can simply come back to here and upload our new index file. And say yes. Okay, now it's up, which means if we come to here, now this is where the magic happens. I'm going to put this away, and then I'm going to take a look at my analytics. Let's see if we can get this working right. And go to real time. Okay, so there's nobody on the site right now, but if we reload this page, and if we inspect and just take a look inside, well, there you can see there's our visit that just happened. Okay, and if we do the inspection just to make sure, we take a look at head, you'll see we now have our analytics stuff going on in here. Okay, that's really handy. So you can see there's our one visit. And if I open up, maybe I take this and visit it also from Chrome at the same time, we should see another visit recorded. There it goes. There's a second visit. Okay. And I've had a few cases where something I've built gets on the news or gets on the front page of a popular blog or, Reddit or Hacker News or something like that. And it is a great way to lose an entire day of productivity watching your little bits of traffic roll by on your Google Analytics, and suddenly instead of 2, you've got like 75 or 300 or whatever, and these big spikes and everything. You can see the world kind of exploding and everything. It's really kind of wild. So if you ever get the chance to have something go viral, it's really fun to just watch it all happen in real time. But anyway, now that we have some traffic here, you can take a look at other features going into that Google analyzes. Now, there's tons and tons of stuff in here. A lot of it is more useful if you've got a big website that's trying to convert people from a welcome screen all the way down to a buy button and then converting that to a full purchase and everything. There's all sorts of ways of handling acquisition and funnels, and you can make custom lead things, analyze stuff. There's a whole, like I said, there's a whole universe of this. But the basics is you can see how many people visit, and you can see how many visit from particular ranges. Here's when I was doing some promotion for the site. You can see we had a big spike back in late January, and you can see active users right now. They give you some analysis on where people are visiting from, whether it's from organic search or directly. And once again, if we go back, you can see here's the big spike from when I was doing some advertising. And you can sort of see where things come from. So that's kind of handy. You can see where they're coming from. Facebook, I had a bunch of Facebook ads and some referrals and people going direct. Anyway, there's all sorts of things. You can find out all sorts of things about your audience. It's like where they're from, where the users are. And if we maybe, show this, if we show this instead of, let's go last 30 days. Apply. See a bit more information. Okay, once again, the last 30 days, because of this whole quarantine thing, hasn't been a huge amount of traffic, obviously. But you can see where people are coming from, and you can see the country, the languages they're using, and you can even see sometimes the country. Canada, United States. Now, why we have people visiting from China and Kazakhstan, I don't know. Once again, there's a lot of people out there on the internet doing all sorts of weird things. Sometimes they're bots. Sometimes they're, especially if you're coming from Facebook ads, there's people out there trying to spam Facebook ads with stuff. So this information isn't always going to be super accurate, but it gives you some idea of what's going on. And once again, a lot of people have blockers set up in their browsers now, which means you're not going to be able to see any numbers from them at all. But at least you get some sense of this here. You can even get cities. So, I'm not sure why all these are coming from certain places, but anyway, so it goes. But even more useful, you can see browser, what browser people are using, what operating system people are using. Okay, Windows, Android, iOS, Mac, Linux. So we have as many iOS and Android people as we have just Macintosh people, and just slightly less than we have Windows. So that's one thing to keep in mind. One of the things that we're going to look at next is also actually how to make it more mobile friendly for mobile devices, because we haven't really looked at that yet. But you can still see all sorts of different details here. It's really, really handy. And there's tons and tons of stuff. And once again, demographics, we don't have that many people in, so it's not going to be that useful. Yeah, and there's other things you need to turn on as well to be able to enable these things. But these are really, really useful things to do, and I would recommend, if you really want to find out more, spend some time poking around on Google's documentation for how things work, and there's whole industries of people who will help you figure out your analytics. But the basic is you just go to your homepage and just see the traffic, which is really nice to see, to get a picture of what's working, what's not. Oh, behavior is another section you should take a look at. And if you go to overview, it'll show you some stuff here. And you can see actually the pages that people are going to, and which, here's a class overview page, here's the home page, here's a workshop page. Once again, this is only in the last little while when there wasn't much action going on the site. But you can pick different date ranges. So let's try from the beginning of this year to now. There's a bit more traffic going on, and you get a better sense of what people were landing on. So I have some of these were different landing pages for different kinds of promotions, so you can see who hit where. So this land one was obviously much more popular than some of the other ones, so that's good to know. And thank yous was a page that after people had signed up for something. So that's good to know. We got 39 people signed up for things. You can build all sorts of other stuff with this, but it's kind of handy. And you can see where people go to on the site, all sorts of stuff like that. So anyway, there's a huge universe of things you can do in this. This is just a very quick preview, but you can sort of get a sense of how these things all work. And it's all just a matter of sticking a little bit of JavaScript on your page and then publishing it, and then you can see what's going on. Okay, so if you want to visit our page, we can actually see you visiting, which will be fun. So hopefully some of you will get out there and poke on this page and see what it does, and we can see some of the results in our analytics. Okay, thanks very much. And next time we're going to talk a little bit about making things more mobile friendly. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.